Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, as far as the East is concerned, we're already at the conference final. Yeah, I know. Who would have thought we would have got here this fast, right? I sure didn't. I thought, they'd be both going to 7, at least. How wrong was I? Oh, but anyway, I'm going to give you my pick for the Eastern Conference Final. Ultimately, the Prince of Wales Trophy winner, for winner of the Eastern Conference. As soon as I finish talking about how the semifinals went and give you how I'm doing on my predictions this year, and well, let's see if it helps at all. Either way, let's talk about it. Now, as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned, I'm at 3 for 6, so I'm batting 500 on the East. While I picked the Panthers and the Hurricanes to both win in 7, the number isn't really important to me. The ultimate important part is I picked the right teams to beat the right teams. So ultimately, that's what matters. So let's talk about how we're here. See, to me, Carolina is interesting because there's no quitting them. Even though they played the whole season without Pacioretty, and even though they're playing the rest of the playoffs essentially without Svechnikov, they keep going. I mean, despite that one game against New Jersey, they could have swept them quite easily. But they owned New Jersey for the most part. And, Freddie Anderson's catching fire at the right time. Brent Burns is playing amazing for a guy his age. It'd be interesting to see what kind of damage they can do on their way to the Stanley Cup final if they can make it past the Florida Panthers. But it's been a fun ride to see so far. I mean, their overtime games, let alone, aren't exactly known for being the longest games, but they are entertaining. But that should be expected from Carolina, right? Now, on the other hand, the Florida Panthers, they've managed to prove everybody wrong to this point. Between them and first-seeded Boston that they beat in the quarterfinals, there was a 40-point difference. So they beat a team that was supposed to be the best, and then they beat the second-best team in Toronto. And now they get Carolina, which is the Metropolitan Division winners. Which leads me to believe, was this the run they were supposed to go on last year? Because this is a different-looking Florida Panthers, and I know a lot of it is the trades they made before the season began. I get that. But this is fun. Last time Florida was this competitive, I think was the tail end of Bure back in 2000. But a lot of it can be attributed to Matthew Tkachuk. He's playing the right head games at the right time, I think. He managed to get into Boston and Toronto rent-free, essentially. And not only did they hold Toronto down in 5, they beat them in 5 convincingly, except for that one game. But it's a very different Panthers team, and it would not surprise me if they go to the Cup Finals. Either way, it should be a very entertaining series. I will say that much. But anyway, the problem I've always said with on paper is it only tells you so much. And on paper, this should be a very evenly matched series. But you want to compare on paper to the real ice product. It's apples and oranges at this point. For Carolina, this is their first trip to the conference final since 2019. And fortunate enough for them, this is still pretty much almost identical to the team they had in 2019, give or take a few different exceptions. For Florida, this is their first trip to the conference final since 1996, when the team was only 3 years old. So it's a new generation for the Panthers, but at the same time, the Panthers appear, in my mind, to be the more dominant team. I hope for Carolina, they have some kind of solution in mind, not just for guys like Tkachuk, but for guys like Barkov, for guys like Bennett, for guys like Verhaeghe, for guys like Cousins. I mean, I could go on and on. The depth chart just speaks volumes at this point now. I mean, it's hard not to think the Panthers won't get past the Hurricanes, but at the same time, again, paper. I mean, if the Hurricanes are ready for the Panthers, then the Panthers have to be ready for the Hurricanes. And while the Hurricanes don't have Svechnikov, they still have Burns and Nikas, and Aho. And like I said in the beginning, Anderson is really getting hot. This could be the deep run for either team. And I don't know, I don't want to say the cup is coming out east, but it's hard not to think that the winner will come out of the east. So to pick one, well, I've given myself a day to think about it. Here's what I think. I'm picking the Panthers. They're hot right now. I mean, I don't know what kind of momentum they're riding, but they're riding it hard. And I'm picking this series to go 6, if numbers matter. For me, like I said, the depth chart is just off the wall. It's a really good down the middle on all points. The fact that, like I said, with Tkachuk, they're a much different team. It's no surprise. And if you follow the President's Trophy curse, quote unquote, and I know there's always the conspiracy theories and da-da-da-da-da, but listen to this. A lot of the President's Trophy's winners have won the cup the following season. There's some food for thought. But either way, my pick is Florida, not just to win the East, but to win the Prince of Wales Trophy, which is awarded to the winner of the Eastern Conference playoffs. If you want to take that to Vegas, go right ahead, do so at your own risk. But I'm picking the Panthers to go to the cup. Let me know who you think is winning the 2023 Eastern Conference Final. It's Trev's Hockey Show. I want to thank you for tuning in. I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you're right here. It helps us both. So let's keep it going, right? Right. So if you are here, and you like what I'm doing, give me a like. I think I've earned it. Don't trust me. If you're just saying, hey. If you want that red button that says subscribe all over it, you know you want to. We're hitting 250. We're going to make that happen. And it'll make you feel good. So let's do it up. That social I never use. It's in the description down below. Let's move forward. We're waiting on the West as far as predictions is concerned. But either way, in the meantime, in between time, good luck for from Trev. Later.